3 lines from the top on Nun Ches. So he is pointing out that in the Oirin social Lifnei HaTzimtzum there are 2 madrigas. There is the lower madriga, where all of Birtzoinoi Lahatzil, we had already entered in the Rotze, Lahatzil to emanate for worlds. And then there is also the high madriga before the Aliyah Zorotz, which is in the Ein Sof itself, just within itself contained, not all of it's in Lahatzil. And he said that these 2 madrigas, these 2 madrigas constitute the shayrish for the inyan malakulam mesevikulam as it manifests after the tzimtzum. And we explained quite extensively the relationship between the malakulam and mesevikulam, which is from a definitive gilui, to the Oiris of Lifnei HaTzimtzum. Why is it connected to Oiris of Lifnei HaTzimtzum? And we explained that even Memala, when it says Kol Almin, it is a representative of Oiris of Lifnei HaTzimtzum. Because the principle of Kol Almin is a statement that says that there is, this is all. This is the only exception for the Yatzimtzum. This is not a definitive and limited hamshacha, no matter how great, but it is the reality itself. Yesh loymar, thus it lends itself to be said. We can explain. Shezehu gamkin. This is in the 4th line. Shezehu gamkin bechinas helem v'gilui. That these 2 madrigas between the Oyin and Sof Shel Lifnei HaTzimtzum also comprise the 2 elements, so it's called helem v'gilui. And we already discussed the principle of helem, that which is behelem because it does not express itself, because it is contained within itself. But that which comes begilui subsequently is all from the helem. And thus, we say the bechinas aliyas horotzein, that lower madrigi was called aliyas horotzein, who bechinas his pashtus oir. This is the name his pashtus oir. This is the when the oir is mispashet, which means manifests. This is where there is aliyah zorotzein, expressing the inyan from world, and that's called gilui. V'hu bechinas hagilui hashayach lo elomis, and this is the inyan from gilui hashayach lo elomis, that relates to worlds. The gilui as it is kol b'atzmusei, contained within the atzim itself. This is Oirin Sof Shel Lifnei HaTzimtzum, kol b'atzmusei. And then there is Oirin Sof Shel Amayla Aliyah Zorotzin. Then there is the Oirin Sof that is above Aliyah Zorotzin, prior to Aliyah Zorotzin. Hu k'moi shel ha'atzmoi. This is the way the oil is not b'his pashtus, but as it is unto itself. Harei hu b'chinas helem v'gilui. Therefore, these 2 madrigas are helem v'gilui, she'ha-helem shayach al ha'gilui. Where the helem is shayach al ha'gilui, the helem also relates to the gilui. Because as we explained, the principle of helem v'gilui that even though helem is a higher madrega than gilui, and it is concealed, nothing is manifest, but contained therein is everything that ultimately reveals itself. This is helem hashayach al hagilui. Biranun ches. As a matter of fact, we are at this point we are on the seventh line. Okay. Sixth line from the top. Yeah. From our perspective now, it's what gives us a handle on this, on these concepts. It's something which also exists in the human being. As we explained many times, that a human being is a real godly creation, representing a truth in and of itself, not just reactive to circumstance, but actually representing an essential truth. Therefore, in the human being, there are also these two levels. As we shall see, actually there's three levels. As we say, that Odom she'ein lo Beis inei Odom. A human being, Odom that does not have a house is not Odom. It's not an Odom. What does that mean? That the Odom, as he is unto himself, already possesses the principle of a house, of a home, way before anything has been identified. Within that itself, there are also two madrigas. There is the way the Odom is unto himself, and the way the Odom becomes conscious of the fact that he will be represented in a house. And if Einoi Beis, he is not Odom. This is already the manifestation of what's contained within Odom, what Odom stands for. And then there is the content, as we say all the time, the content of the house. This is the way the gilui, the pnimius, that comes out of that. And that's called gilui. So the house itself is still helem. It contains all the details, but it's an essential thing. It's like helem. But this is a helem v'gilui. The helem itself is a real presence. It already is shayach al hagilui. It's intended to be nisgal. Then there is the human being as he is unto himself before that phenomenon was identified. He's still a human being.
Before the phenomenon of the home.
Of the home. But he's still a human being. And thus, that phenomenon of the home is contained in that reality. This is what we're going to come to now. And this is the principle. It says helem is shayach al hagilui, meaning to say that at that stage it is helem, but it already contains what is later on manifests itself in the gilui. Because this inyan that the person himself before the shaykh, this is what he's first coming to. Because hu beha'oir hashayach al ha'elamis. This whole presentation, the helem the gilui, aliyah zerotzen elamaylam aliyah zerotzen. This is all in the oil hashayach al ha'elamis. In the human being again, this is that aspect of the human being that relates to a presence. He's present in the world. And because he's present in the world, therefore contained therein there is these two inyanim of helem and gilui. Lolus hoinyan shayach bibchinas oir. Overall, this inyan pertains. It has a presence, and it can be identified bibchinas oir in the oir level, the oir element. Oir, in essence, is already a manifestation, except that there is two distinct levels in manifestation. That which manifests to the outside, and that which is a manifestation of his own presence. Even in the higher level of oir, that is manifest of his own presence, still it is a union of oir. And therefore there's a clause Yeshai b'bchinas oir. The hainu, which means to say, be'ere b'chinas oir v'gilui, that where is this principle of helem v'gilui applicable? It is in that madrega that is be'erech, that is within proximity of the union of oir v'gilui, of being manifest. V'shayach boy, in that oir that has an element of manifestation, that can relate to manifestation, there it is possible, there it is applicable to say the beginning is helem, that within that there is helem. V'hem shayochim zeh lo zeh. In other words, that even the union of helem, as we explained, that the union from helem is pshat, that it actually is comprised, it contains all kinds of gilui, but it is behelem. That helem is possible only in oil that has to do with manifestation, with gilui. So therefore, the oil that has to do with gilui is shayach, can relate to the helem, to the manifestation of the oil at the helem level. as we said before, I kind of jumped ahead and preempted the Indian, that the human being, before anything, before he identifies with the Indian of a home, he is a presence in the world. The minute he's a presence in the world, he already relates to oil. And in that oil there is the helem and the gilui, there is the makif and the pnim.
Oh. I'm not sure if I'm catching the point here. Is one of the points that the revealed or gilui, the revealed light, is shaykh el helem, is related to or connected to the hidden light? This is one.
And then that the hidden light itself is an element of oil.
The hidden light itself is an element of or. Oh, the focus here being, though it's hidden, it has an element of coming into revelation.
That's right. And Amahaz can relate to manifestation.
Oh.
It is not there like a human being is a presence in the world. That's already as a present. This is the oil of the human being. That's why we give him a name right away.
This, I guess this is a mashal. The human being is a presence in the world, and we give him a name. That relates to. That's explaining how.
This is before the Indian that he has identified himself as a human being and he needs a home.
Oh, so in a sense, he's like the helem. He's like the
This
hidden light.
This is like the light in which helem is possible.
And yet we give him a name, saying it's shaykh el gilui.
Right.
And when we started out, were we also saying there's a hidden light that eno shaykh, that has no relation to being, that's just unto itself, that's not related to showing itself?
That is the same oil, but k'meshuli atzmai.
Right. So it has an
But
element.
even that is that relates to that it's oil. It has to do with gilui, with manifestation.
What's the meaning there if it's la'atzmai? So how that means it's unto itself. So what's the meaning? It's still or and has
The
to do with
human
revealing.
being, as he is unto himself, is a presence in the world.
Oh, so he's a presence in the world showing on.
Oil.
He cannot get away from revealing, from being a revealed entity.
Yeah. This is like the oil element of the human being.
Even when he's la'atzmai, he's still
Even when he's
oil.
la'atzmai. If he doesn't have a home, he will eventually have a home. Because that's what he is.
Right.
Even though he hasn't yet identified that he is a human being at the level where he needs home. In essence, we hit this home when we're saying, you find a man lying in the gutter, and he says, leave me alone, I'm happy here. And we say, no, you cannot possibly be happy there. How do we know?
How do we know? Right.
He says, leave me alone. Because he is designed as a human being. In that there is contained already the Indian that he has to function like a human being. Therefore, this was a klolus o inyan, shayar bebchinas eir. This whole phenomenon of oir v'gilui, gilui and helem, is shaykh only bebchinas helem. What's mean bebchinas helem? The hainu, which means be'ereh bebchinas oir v'gilui. Anything that has to do, that can be viewed from the perspective of oil and gilui. What can be viewed from the perspective of gilui? That's something that has to do with manifestation. It's manifest or it doesn't manifest. V'shayach be'chinas helem, and there the whole concept of helem is possible, is applicable. V'heim shayochim zelozeh, and thus they relate to one another. This helem relates to the essence of the oil. This is now on the higher level. This helem is shaykh to the essence of the of oil, the way the oil is. Avo be'atzmos ein soif, but in the etzem of ein soif, harayei no shaykh inyan helem v'gilui klal. There, the whole phenomenon of helem v'gilui is not shaykh, is not applicable altogether. Nothing is contained in atzmos.
This is higher than light.
This is higher than the etzem oil. Right, exactly.
Is that because it's fully expressed or because it's not at all expressed?
Because expressing, it doesn't apply there. Expressing applies only there where the expressing complements it. The expressing is not any significant, it has no significance whatsoever. Let's understand. I just want to put it, even though time is up, but means just the two of us. A human being, like we mentioned before, no matter the fact that he has no conscious of what he is, and nothing human is manifest in him. That would us we say, hey, wait a second, this is not true. Why? Because the human being has a definitive presence. He's defined to begin with what he is. Whether this will manifest itself or not manifest itself, but he has a definitive presence. Therefore, in the definitive presence, there is contained that which it can manifest. Atzmos does not have a definitive presence. Atzmos does not have a presence. It does not originate any place. It's not an intentional presence. And therefore there is no inherent content. The helem and gilui principle doesn't apply.
Like in the mashal of the host, isn't that when the host is there, there's a gilui. When he's not there, isn't this a reveal of the etzem?
Yeah, but that etzem is not is a created etzem. It has a definitive presence. I'm saying a human being has a definitive presence. It's true, it's an etzem. But this one, so this is the oir k'moshe hu li'atzmi.
That's not atzmos.
It's not atzmos. This is still oir. Here we take away the word oir. Ava be'atzmos ein soif, not be'atzmos oir ein soif. There, helem v'gilui totally emanate. Okay. We'll have to interrupt. This is an interruption actually that will carry us over Pesach. And we'll pick it up from where we pick it up. Pesach.